Hello, Kate.
Hello, Ivan, and welcome everyone to the course Business Communication. This is the course about how to give presentations and how to deal up with the different aspects in presentations. We are going to start with the very first lesson, and welcome to the first lesson. We are going to speak about different types of the presentation and how to make presentations effective. So, Ivan, what is the presentation?
That's a good question, Kate. So a presentation is actually a speech or talking for your audience. You could have different reasons for that. So you may deliver your speech to inform your audience. You may deliver your speech to persuade them to do something, to force them to do something. You may also deliver your speech to entertain and to develop everything that you want to actually. So that's a very powerful tool in the business world.
You know, this is like the most important things, and why presentation is very important for the business world, why it is so.
It is very important because, as I have mentioned, it's a tool. And one more thing, it's a skill that you have to master, because if you master the communication, if you master your presentation skills, and presentations, by the way, could have different options. So for example, it could be a short one, like a elevator pitch. So in just few seconds, like 30 seconds, where you're in an elevator, you can communicate about your about your firm, about your product, about anything, but just in 30 seconds.
You know, yesterday I had such a presentation.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh. On one of the forums, I was presenting myself, and it was like 60 seconds where I was sharing about myself, and I was sharing about all of the things that we are doing in the company. And also I was presenting our business community, like the first English-speaking business community. And it was amazing, you know.
That's amazing. And was that party, the person who you were talking to, were they interested in you after your presentation?
Yeah, it was like we had an eye contact, and I started with my personal story. You know, started, and probably these are the tips that we should start with. What can you say, like what you can recommend to all of us to start the presentation, like effective presentation, what it might be?
Definitely, yeah. So every presentation should have its own structure. So the first one is you really want to know your audience. As you've mentioned, you were talking to a person and you had the reason to do that. So if you know the person, if you know what they already know about you or don't know, then you are prepared to deliver the information that is important to you and to them consequently. So that means you want to know what they know about you, and you want to know what you want to deliver to them. So that's the very first point, very important. So knowing your audience is absolutely crucial.
Yeah, just to jump in over here, just like what I've heard from you about the information that you would like to present. Personally, I used my data, like how many people I was cooperating with, what were my clients, and what are my clients doing right now, because it is the result-oriented presentation.
That's great, because it leads us to the second point. That means so your presentation should have a clear purpose. You want to present the information that you've mentioned, some data, some numbers, some achievements of your company, of your business, of your product. So that's really important.
Yeah. If to talk about the presentation, what might be the third point for that?
It's another step, very important, yeah. So actually, all of the points are really important. So this one is about being prepared. So if you are prepared, that is the key to success. Yeah, absolutely. So they say that 1 minute of your presentation takes 1 hour of the preparation. So if you have a 10-minute presentation, so you can calculate.
Really, 10 hours?
Well, yeah. It depends, actually. So,
if
you want to be really effective, if you want to be really, if you want to deliver your message to the audience properly, if you want them to be persuaded, you want to be really prepared. So you want to prepare your material, you want to practice, you want to deliver it, you want to practice it, and to let your friends, for example, listen to your presentation, then ask them to give the feedback.
Cool presentation, like a tip for the presentation. Just
Absolutely.
I know, like the thing that goes into my head, this is about very important thing. practice makes perfect.
Definitely, yeah, I like this one. So I use this saying every time when I'm trying to, say, okay, that's enough. Maybe I should stop practicing. But no, practice makes perfect. So that's right. That's what you want to do. Absolutely.
Yeah. And moving on to the next one, like one of my recommendations is to use visuals, because it is one of the most important things. And if you are presenting, for example, on one of the forums, on the stage, like the visuals are very important. And in later on videos, we are going to share what have to be in our presentations, like what kind of visuals have to be. And this is really, really cool. I will just share what impressed me the most recently, where the visuals were not only supported by graphs, but also videos,
cool.
with some music, with some ideas, especially like when you're presenting on forums and when you're presenting your company, like some video advertisement that might be really, really cool. And to summarize what we have to do, like what is the other tip to summarize?
Yeah, that's a good question. So let's jump into these. So, and by the way, thank you for mentioning we're going to talk about visuals in our next videos, and we will dive deeper into all of the details in order to make your presentation and your visuals in particular very effective. Okay, Kate, so you've mentioned you were at the forum, and tell me please, did you use another tip for effective presentations, telling stories? Did you tell any story there?
Yeah, I usually start my presentations when I'm presenting with a story, because I think that it is like a person to person. When you start with the presentation with your personal story, and you bring your personal story to the stage and to the person with whom you are talking. I had an experience of delivering a presentation in front of 400 people, and that was amazing and incredible. When I asked my audience to raise their hands, and I was interacting, and by interacting, I was telling a story, and it was amazing, because in my stories, people, they've heard some ideas maybe that they can bring to their life, or some of the stories they can give them a time to reflect maybe on some of the aspects in their businesses. Or it was the educational forum, the other educational forum where I was presenting some tips, and I started how it was like 20 years ago and how it turned out to be, and I told my story of success, and that was amazing.
That's great. Yeah, it's all about actually the connection with your audience, feeling that you're not just talking to yourself. It's about talking to your audience. It's about interacting and communicating with them. So definitely, that's a very good example. Thank you. That's really inspiring. I like it.
Yeah. And one of the other tip that I would definitely use and I would definitely bring, this is about asking questions.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Definitely. So asking questions, what do you mean? Asking kind of theoretical questions? Or?
Oh no, these are like the questions, they might be the questions without answer. How do we call them? Rhetorical questions.
Rhetorical questions, yeah.
Have you ever had such an inspiring morning when you were like listening to music, drinking a cup of tea?
Imagining that.
Yeah, and this is about bringing the person to that real life situation, and then you are connecting this situation into your background, and that works really cool. And the final thing is just call to action.
Oh yeah, the call to action, that's a very good example. So with your call to action, you want to tell your audience what you want them to do after your presentation, whether you want them to buy your products or services, or just inform them or inspire or even entertain. So your call to action is an important element to include into your presentation.
For sure. So we were discussing what were the tips and how to deal with everything. But let's bring the examples, because it is like the juicy thing.
Yeah, that's good.
Like I've heard that there might be good presentations and bad presentations. Can you bring what is like the difference between these two?
Well, actually, most of the presentations are actually bad presentations because they lack most of these points that we have previously mentioned. So a bad presenter is an unconfident one. A bad presenter is an unprepared one. So if you don't know what you're talking about, if you don't know your audience, if you're not interacting, if you're not engaging your audience, that is a sign of a bad presenter. So you definitely don't want to be that one.
Yeah.
And what about a good one, Kate? Do you have any tips?
The good presenter, it is definitely the person who is really, really into the content,
Yeah.
who is deeply aware what is the target audience he or she they are talking about or talking to, interaction, examples, stories, data, video, audio, and all of these things, they are like bringing together really, really cool presentation. So I definitely will start my presentation with the question.
Good.
Then I would proceed to the really, really cool story of my life. And then I would ask the other thing, the audience to interact or just talk to a partner, what might be like good or bad things of your business or challenges that you faced, for example. And then I would bring to my data and to my visuals, and that would be like really, really result-oriented presentation.
Absolutely. Thank you. So those tips are really priceless, I would say. So, but how do you remember the structure? How do you remember that you want to include the visuals, you want to interact, you want to have that call to action? How would you recommend to remember that list of those to do things?
I would definitely recommend to all of the presenters be aware of what they are talking and what they are doing, because as you mentioned, 1 minute of the presentation, it is 1 hour of preparation. So I would definitely ask all of the presenters to do them by themselves, because when you are working with this, when you are working with the material, when you are bringing all of your examples, you are memorizing, remembering, you can bring everything to really, really cool results. So I would definitely start preparing to the presentation, and then practice, and then rehearse for sure. If you do not have anybody to rehearse in front of, just rehearse in front of the mirror and or record.
Yeah, you can record yourself.
Like I'm recording like the voice or the video, and then I'm analyzing. And this is about the analysis as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you want to reflect on that, and once you go through that, you actually feel that, okay, this needs improvement, this looks good, or I'm going to change this or that point. That's very nice. Thank you for telling that.
Thank you. So the tips for bringing the presentation to really, really good success for the first lesson is to be prepared, to know what you have to do, to start with the introduction, then to present, and then to finalize and bring the things to action. Please follow us, do the tasks, because we prepared with Ivan the tasks for you, and have a lovely day, and see you during the second lesson.
Yes, see you in our next video. Bye.
See you. Bye-bye.